Good morning. This is Dr. Susan, and one of my favorite co-hosts, Maverick, is helping me this morning. And we are going to introduce you to a book that's has a whole different twist to it. So you can enjoy the story, and then Maverick doesn't even know about the book yet. So you'll enjoy the story, and then Maverick and I are going to kind of take the story, and what it sounds like it says is going to be totally different than what it actually says. Aren't you confused now? Anyway, the book we're doing today is called Whose Shoes? It's by Victoria Englehart, and we're going to just do the story, and then we'll talk about it afterwards and see if you can help us play with this idea of shoes. All right? So let's go ahead and do the story. All right, and you can just sit and listen. Don't need you to do anything just yet. All right, it's called Whose Shoes? All right. Alexandra, shouted Mother as she banged her coffee cup on the breakfast table. What in the world are you doing? That's Alexandra. Then there's Mom's cup. Alexandra shuffled through the kitchen, her left foot dragging, but her right foot fit almost. Mother covered her face with both hands and peeked at Alexandra through her fingers. What am I going to do with you? You've been trying shoes all week, ever since your aunt and her family have arrived. Well, she asked me, I know, Mother groaned, whose shoes will you walk in when you grow up? I wish she had never said that. Alexandra looked down at her cousin's brown moccasin on her right foot and her dad's black loafer on her left. How will I know if I don't walk around in other people's shoes? Mother frowned, towering tall above Alexandra. I forbid you to continue. You're going to hurt yourself. No more. Go to your room right now. Put all those shoes back where they belong. Alexandra's eyes filled with tears. But how can I answer? Her lips trembled and her voice shook. How will I know whose shoes? Oh, Alexandria, Mother knelt and hugged her daughter. Forget about all this. When you grow up, you'll understand what your aunt meant. Mother stood up. Now, I mean it. Put all those shoes away right now. Mother felt soft and warm and smelled like vanilla, but this would not solve Alexandria's problem. She hobbled up the stairs to her bedroom, Dad's loafers clunking up each step. She pushed open the door and looked at the assortment of shoes all over the floor. This morning, she collected different shoes from her aunts, uncles, and her grown cousins. She must find the answer, but she must obey her mother, too. What a dilemma. Alexandria looked at her reflection in the mirror and asked, whose shoes? She sat quietly, clicked the lock shut on her bedroom door, and began pulling out more shoe boxes from under the bed. Until now, she had only tried on shoes on each foot. Standing in both at the same time would be a new experience. Perhaps it was the pairs that held the secret. She tried on her mother's old ballet slippers. The pink felt slick to her fingers. She walked around the room and struck a pose. The tips dug heavy and her feet clumsy. Nope, these shoes hurt her toes. Next, she pulled on her cousin's cowboy boots. Yuck, they smell like cows. She pushed them away from her and rubbed her nose, hoping to get rid of the odor. Next, she pulled on her aunt's red high heels. She clomped around the room and draped a white feather boa around her neck and shoulders. Alexandria smiled at her glamorous reflection. She stepped forward to get a closer look, and as she did, her ankle turned and she came crashing to the floor. Who do you think heard that? Alexandria! Alexandria! Mother called, rattling the doorknob on the other side of the locked door. What in the world are you doing in there? Nothing, Alexandra replied. She kicked off her aunt's high heels, picked herself up off the floor. I'm just resting. Doesn't sound like resting to me, Mother said as she rattled the doorknob again. Young lady, you are in big trouble if you don't open this door right now. I'm coming, Alexandria called as she swept all the shoes and boxes under her bed. She unlocked the door, twirled the boa. I was just playing. Mother frowned. If I found out you're trying on shoes. Alexandria picked up her old teddy bear and hugged him to her chest. Bear in hand, she struggled taking the rosebud tea set from her dresser. Mother was no longer frowning. Remember, we're all going on a picnic to the lake this afternoon. Bring your swimsuit. Okay, Alexandria said, gently pushing the door shut, leaving her mother standing alone in the hallway outside her bedroom. No more shoes, Mother warned. Alexandria locked the door slowly, scrambled under the bed for more shoes. She pulled on Dad's fireman boots. They were too tall and smelled of smoke. Next, her cousin's sandals rubbed against her ankles with each step. They would never do. Alexandria fell onto the bed exhausted from trying to fit into other people's shoes. She closed her eyes and reached under the bed. Just one last pair. As soon as she tried them on, she knew. What did she know? Alexandria found the perfect fit. She laughed and tied the laces and stood happy and confident. Alexandra unlocked her bedroom door and hopped down each step. Her aunt stood at the kitchen table packing the picnic basket. Well, young lady, got the puzzle figured out? Alexandra drew up tall and took a deep breath. I tried on a lot of shoes, she said, but the ones that fit me best are my own. Mother smiled at Alexandria and winked, grinning. Alexandra pushed open the door and ran outside. Don't forget about our picnic, Mother called. I won't, Alexandria called back. She skipped through the garden, carefully not to step on the daisies. Happily, she created a path, her own. The end. So, that was a little bit of a dilemma that Alexandria had to solve. And she started out working through the story on a literal basis. Literal basis is something that someone tells you, you believe exactly as you heard it, okay? But in reality, what she was going to be experiencing was what she did at the last part. She created her own path. And the only way she could do that is to wear her own shoes, not someone else's. And as I was thinking about this, Maverick, you can help me with this. As I was thinking about this, how many different types of shoes do you think there are?
Millions.
Millions, okay. And if you looked at a pair of shoes, let's go through the athletic part, okay? Mm-hmm. What kind of shoes do the athletes wear?
I don't know. Like sports shoes.
Sports shoes. What kind of sports shoes?
Like Nikes and
like Nikes?
Kind of
So you mean like basketball players?
Yes.
What about football?
Like cleats.
Cleats, okay. Who else wears cleats?
Soccer.
Soccer, okay. What about when you play golf? I don't know anything about golf.
You wear shoes? I don't know.
I don't know.
They do?
You do wear special shoes for the grass? Yeah, and to get a grip on their feet and so forth? Okay, so golfers
Cleats?
have special shoes too. Are they like cleats, kind of? Nubs on them? Okay. All right. So we know golfers wear different shoes. Now, would you know if you saw a man standing right in front of you, and he has a you know, sweater and pants and other shoes on? By looking at his shoes, could you guess what he does?
Sometimes, but not always.
No,
if they're
sometimes, but
sports
not
shoes, maybe. Like cleats, then maybe. But like Nikes or
like loafers or something.
Yeah, not
like
really.
Alexandra's dad. If you just saw him when he wasn't at work, you would just see loafers. He had black loafers. Yet, in the story, she put on her dad's fireman boots. So that tells you
Wonder where she got those. Did she steal them? Why are they under her bed? Why are there so many shoes under her bed?
Well, she was in search for something, right? Okay, so if you saw a fireman, you could tell what they're doing. If you saw a, let's see, what else? Ballet. Well, ballet. That's
Yeah.
ballet shoes. Men and women wear the ballet
I'm
shoes.
pretty sure people don't just walk around on the street with those.
I don't think so either. I wouldn't want to anyway. Let's see. How about rock climbing? You have cleats.
Do you have cleats?
Cleats in that?
Some kind of
Lots
shoes.
of-
I don't
some
know if they're
kinda-
cleats.
Yeah, they're kind of.
Yeah, not really.
I don't know what they are.
They're shoes. They're
But
shoes.
they're special kinds of shoes.
Bowling.
Yeah. Bowling shoes. Yes, there's bowling shoes. You can always tell those kind of shoes, right?
They're flat and they're like,
And they're usually two or three different colors.
yeah.
They're not one color.
I don't know.
Okay, and I don't understand that part either. Why? Why are
They're
they different
just-
colors?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then the other one that I thought of is there's a particular sport. Yeah, there's a particular sport that wears no shoes. Well, actually, there's a couple sports that wear no shoes. You know which ones they are?
No. Swimming?
Swimming. There you go. Okay, swimming. You wouldn't know a person by looking at them if they were a swimmer. All right. What about? There's
Well, if
one
they
more.
have like a swimming cap and goggles and a bathing suit,
Well, if they had,
then
well, if they were, yeah, if they were dressed like that, sure. There's one more. Can you think of it?
no. Surfing?
Oh, well, surfing's no shoes. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but there are surfers. Yes, okay. See, you're one up on me. How about karate? You don't wear shoes.
I mean, I guess.
Well, I know because I've done karate, so yeah, I know you don't wear shoes. And by looking at them, unless they have a gi on, you wouldn't know that they were doing karate either. And let's see, what about, you wouldn't know a doctor unless he was in his clothes. His
Shoes
work
don't
clothes.
really.
Shoes don't really tell you a whole lot about a person, do they?
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, it depends.
How do they tell? How would they tell? Maybe a fireman.
Well, maybe not as much as some other things, but you could by like what they have on them, what they look like.
Yeah, their clothes. What their clothes are wearing.
Like what your shoes look like. My
your shoes look?
shoes are always like military boots, or I have a lot of Vans, and they're different. Like the ones I have on now are black, but a lot of them are really worn down and broken. Most of my shoes are like that. I don't know. Maybe you could, like, if somebody had really sparkly shoes or really old-looking shoes or
You might guess as to what
really
they do.
dirty shoes
Yeah.
or really sparkly, shiny, clean shoes. Like shiny, not sparkly, but like shiny and clean shoes.
Like they're going
brand new.
somewhere special
Yeah.
to make sure their shoes are polished. Yes. How many people polish their shoes today? I don't know too many. I don't polish mine.
I don't. I can't
Do
really
you polish yours?
The only shoes I really could polish are super muddy, and I just don't polish them.
Well, I know if you're in the military and you have inspection, you polish your shoes so
Yeah.
you could see your face. I know that much. So there's a few pairs of shoes that you could look at and kind of guess what the person does.
Maybe not as much as like maybe what they're wearing on
Right,
a shirt
more-
or something,
yeah.
but shoes can say a little bit.
They can say a little bit about who a person is, what they do, and stuff like that.
If they're high heels, if they're slippers.
Yeah. Like you're going to the beach, you wear
Sandals.
thongs or sandals. Yeah. You could do that. So and we know at the end of the story, it kind of told you basically what her aunt was asking. She's asking, whose shoes are you going to wear? And if you had to pick, say somebody had a bunch of shoes sitting on a chair, and you had to pick somebody, ask you, okay, when you're 15, you're going to want to wear those shoes. Which shoes do you think those would be?
My shoes.
Well, yeah, your shoes, but what type of shoe when you're 15? You got a few years yet, but what do you think you might be interested in wearing when you're 15?
I don't know what I'd wear in 3 years.
You don't know? Okay.
I mean, probably the same thing I'm wearing now.
Vans.
I don't assume that would change.
Okay. Well, it might. You just never know. Okay.
I don't know.
All right. So the whole idea of what Alexandria was going through was...
But I
she
mean,
was-
3
yeah.
years isn't that long to change what kind of shoes you really, really like.
No, it wouldn't. One of the things that her aunt was trying to ask her was, what do you think you want to do when you get older?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what she
'Cause-
was asking.
it wasn't really literally like whose shoes do you want to wear. It was kind of like what path do you want to take.
There you go. And what path do you want to take? What shoes do you want to wear? When I got to thinking about this last night, I came out of my sewing room and went into the dining room, and I'm just standing in front of my china cabinet and just staring at it. And my daughter walked around the corner and she says, "You lose something?" I said, "No." I said, "But I am looking for something." She says, "Well, what are you looking for?" I said, "Well, shoes." She says, "Mom, I don't think you're going to find them in the china cabinet." I said, "Now, wait a minute, maybe I will." And what I found in my searching through my china cabinet, that's just looking, I didn't have the doors open, was I found several kinds of dolls, and one of the dolls had, they were black loafer type shoes, but she was dressed in a German costume. That's the way the girls dressed quite a while ago. And
I know what it's
so
called.
she had different kinds of shoes, you know, that from the other dolls that are in my china cabinet. But then I also noticed that I have my oldest daughter's baby shoe, little shoe, I had it cast in porcelain, and then I have her picture beside it of the age when she wore the shoe. My other daughter, I had hers cast in bronze. And then there was, yeah, her foot wasn't in it, just a shoe.
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't the foot.
I just thought I'd throw that in there. And also, there was a little sandal that was in a little cup that belonged to Casey. And I got to thinking, oh, maybe I'll take those with me. And I thought, no, I wouldn't have to do that. Because when we arrived, we didn't have shoes on our feet anyway.
That's true.
They weren't necessary at that point in time. And as you got older, old enough to learn how to toddle or walk as a toddler, you didn't really care about your shoes. Usually you didn't want to wear them. It's usually the case. Most kids don't want to wear shoes. They'd rather go barefoot because that's how they got here, barefoot. So the idea of the shoes, whose shoes are you going to wear? Well, the only shoes you can really wear are your own. You can pretend to be in other shoes, and I think that was what her aunt was maybe asking her about, is what kind of things do you think you would want to do between her age, and how old would you have guessed she was in that story? About 7, 8 years old, maybe?
Yeah.
To have that kind of a question asked and take the question actually literally? Like,
yeah,
so
maybe
that's why
7.
she went to get all the different shoes, was to figure them out, who she's going to wear.
Mm-hmm.
So she more took it literally. That's why I think she's maybe 7 or 8. All of you that are out there that are
maybe
7
6
or
or
8.
7.
6 or 7? Okay. And, you know, if somebody asked you that question, what would you do? What would you think? Would you automatically think, well, let's see, I'm going to be, I think for girls generally at that age, I'm going to be a teacher, or I'm going to be a mother, or I'm going to be this, or I'm going to be that. And so now you're on. I'm going to ask you questions. What we're going to do is we're going to create a path.
How are we going to do that?
So we're going to do this. We're going to create a path. And so we're going to take 2 pieces of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to tape across here. So we're going to make a path. This is Maverick's path here.
Are we making an infinite loop?
Nope.
Oh.
So this is part of the path. And we're going to add 1 more piece.
So what is the path for? We're just going to cut out shoes and put them on there?
Well, I'm going to have you kind of forecast for yourself. This can be fun, but I don't want it to be taxing.
What does that mean?
I don't want it to be taxing. I don't want it to be where you have to come up with an answer, come up with something, because in actuality, that's something that's going to be difficult to do. So I want this to be able to fold. That's the reason why I did it that way. So we're here now. So this is the beginning. So this is the beginning. So, do you remember the first time that you went and picked out your own shoes?
No.
Do you remember how old you were?
No.
When did you start wanting to wear Vans? Do you remember?
I don't know. I feel like the first pair I had was blue.
They were blue?
I thought they were blue and they were Velcro.
I
think so.
Yeah, probably.
I remember some kind of blue Velcro shoes. Do you remember those?
Okay. So, but you don't remember.
I don't remember
You don't
if
remember.
that was the first one.
Was it before you went to school? Before you started school, do you think?
I don't know. I just have some
You're
recollection
supposed to
of.
remember these things.
I'm not supposed to remember those things.
I don't remember mine either, so it's okay. All right. So to pick out one of these, whether you want
That one.
Okay. So pick out that pair and make it like you're going to walk a path.
Oh.
You're going to walk like that now. Huh.
Well, there's only 3 though.
Well,
Am
you're
I supposed
just
to
start
draw
out
'em?
there. You're not going to stay in those shoes forever. Something's going to happen to you. Go ahead and do that. Just cut that pair out. Cut that pair out, and you'll see where we're going from there. You just want a pair of shoes. And I'm going to go over here around you and get the glue stick.
Do you want me to cut them out like really close to it, or?
Yeah, you can do it like in a pair. You can do it however you like. Doesn't matter. It's up to you. So the reason we're doing this particular little project here, you might want to have fun doing that for yourself. But if someone had asked me whose shoes would I be wearing by the time I'm the age I am now, when I was 19, and they would have forecasted that for me, which means told me that that's what I would be doing, I would have just kind of laughed at them and turned around and walked away. Because I would never in my life have thought, at the age I'm at now, that I would be a minister and be working with children and working at a church. That would have never, ever crossed my mind at 19. I don't think that would have crossed my mind at 12 or even 10. That just wasn't in
What about past 19?
No, not. Nope. I didn't really even come to that place until I was in my 40s. Yes, in my 40s was when I came to that conclusion, that would be something that I would wear. And of course, thinking about shoes, how would I have known if I looked at a pair of shoes and said, well, that's what I'm going to be walking in? I don't think we have special kinds of shoes. We just have shoes that we walk in. Okay, now just do a glue stick and...
Couldn't we just tape them on? Wouldn't that be easier?
Yeah, you can tape them. I don't care. It's your path. You can tape them.
I like tape.
Okay, you can tape them. There you go. That's perfect.
Just put it right over the top, and then you smooth it out.
There
And
you
that
go.
I did horrible on that one. But
No, that's perfect.
oh, I wrinkled it. I'll do it better this time.
You stepped in sand. That's why it wrinkled.
Yeah, there you can't even tell.
Nope.
Not really. Kind of.
Okay. And of course, down here, we don't have any shoes at all. You weren't wearing shoes when you first arrived. But now you're at that point.
Well, I probably didn't start wearing shoes like this until, like, further.
Maybe. Now, the other interesting thing, and I didn't do sizing
Because I
on
do
these
remember wearing shoes like this when I first got my pair of jungle, like, hiking combat boots.
Oh, okay.
That was
And they had
when
the
I was,
grids
like,
on the
5.
bottoms.
I was like
Yeah.
5.
Okay. You were like 5. Okay. write that
I
down
think.
there.
I don't know.
Say like 5. Just put 5 years.
Like, put a 5
Yeah.
here. This
If the pen
pen is
likes to write.
not very helpful.
Okay. Let's.
Oh, there.
Here's a colored pencil. It'll show up better
That'll
anyway.
work. Oh, wait, maybe.
Try to scribble.
Because I
with
got
them,
a
you
little
know.
bit. Oh, scribble on here. Got a little bit.
Okay.
I think that's good enough. You can see that.
Okay. So 5. And how old are you now?
11.
You're 11. Do you still fit in the same shoes?
No, but I wear the same shoes in a bigger size.
Okay.
Like the
you wear
exact
the
same pair.
style of shoes in a bigger size. Okay. So your foot would be bigger, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
you want me to, like, copy this in my head and then zoom it up and then print
you
it out
wanna-
of my mouth?
No, that's okay. You don't have to. But the whole idea is, and these are different, the shoes, basically the same shoes because they're kind of your favorite. You enjoy wearing those kind of shoes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, at some point in time, you may be wearing, these are like dress shoes. Okay.
What about I just put another pattern on the bottom?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, do another pattern on the bottom of where you are right now. No, it'll. And then cut those out. Put those there. Okay. And I'm sure when you, in another couple years, your mom and dad won't have to go out and get your shoes. You go with them, right? Because you have to try them on because your feet are different size, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when the other thing about whose shoes you're going to wear, outside of you're going to wear your own, is when you, every year that you age, you're not, it's not only your feet that's growing, you're growing. And you're growing in your likes and your dislikes, and you're growing in your interests. Okay? Now, Maverick, when you were 5, can you remember any of the interests that you really had at 5 years old?
Rocks.
Blocks?
Rocks.
Oh, rocks.
Although I did like locks.
You like blocks. Okay.
I said locks, like looking things.
Oh, locks. Oh, okay.
But I like rock. I liked rocks.
Rocks too. Okay, so locks.
Rocks. I like sticks and rocks.
Sticks and rocks.
And then I also liked science, I think. I still like science, but I know I liked sticks and rocks.
Sticks and rocks. Okay. So when you were about when you were 5, that's the interest that you had. Now that you're 11, are your interests different, or are they just
well,
more
I'm not as
sophisticated?
interested in rocks. It's not my main interest anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think I started to get, when I was 5, I started to get more interests like the ones I have now, but I still like rocks. I still like rocks, kind of, but not as much.
Okay.
And I still occasionally like a stick. It looks cool.
So, and at what, do you remember at what age that you enjoyed when you started, your interest started in in World War II and military and things like that? Remember the age you were?
In history? No. I just remember. I don't really know. I remember liking it for a long time, but I don't really know.
Okay. Can you pinpoint what do you think brought you to that interest? Was there something special event or someplace you went that drew your attention, or maybe somebody you knew?
Maybe even my name. I don't know. Because I named after a
Maverick. Okay.
movie with
military.
Fighter jets. Which is what I always liked modern like fighter jets because I always liked like the F-14 Tomcat, which is the movie, which is the plane in the movie that I named after. But then I guess that's kind of how I got interested in it, because I liked that and flying, which I still love flying, and aviation. And then I think I got interested in the military history from going to museums.
Museums, okay.
Like aircraft carriers, like the Midway, the battleship Iowa, not an aircraft carrier, but then the aircraft carrier USS Hornet. I went on some submarines and some other things, and then I flew in a B-17, which is an old bomber. And so a lot of different, but that was only last year, so, well, not last year, but my 10th birthday, I think that was. So that wasn't that long ago.
Well,
that
I've known you for a while, and I can
I don't know.
counter back, I think, maybe about 4 years that you and, I forget how to pronounce their names.
Tor, Ark, and Bjorn.
Yeah. Tor, Ark, and Bjorn. Yeah. And that's when I heard a lot about the military, because you enjoyed that, and then they all were interested in that too.
And also them, we used to, we kind of had, just now?
Any place.
Maybe.
Wherever you want.
9, kind of.
Okay.
Sure. So that'll work.
All right.
But we started like doing little dioramas with like some blocks and things like that. And toy soldiers, and then we started playing outside and playing, putting on like helmets, and then we changed one time. put a bunch of like shields and stuff on a go-kart to make it look like they have like little pedal go-karts. And we tried to make it look like a Jeep.
Okay.
But that didn't work so well.
Yeah. Well, that's
It
okay.
kind
You
of fell
tried.
off.
That's the important part. Okay. So basically, and that was when you were, I'm thinking, 8,
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
But I think I was interested before. I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
But since I've known you, and I've known you since you were tiny, just before you started wearing shoes, those were the kinds of things that was an interest to you. Now, how do you think, though, that interest that you have now will put you in other types of shoes? Do you have an inkling that that might be something that'll occur somewhere down along the path through here?
Well, what about we put this as it keeps going, like 5 to 11, but I'm still wearing those shoes.
Yes, you still are.
So this keeps going.
Right. Your path is going to continue. And what size shoes you're wearing, of course, are going to get
That
bigger.
gets bigger.
That's where it's going to get
I think
bigger.
I'm at a 7.5.
Right. And as you get bigger, your ideas are bigger, your experiences are bigger. And your experiences and your ideas and the things that you like and the things you find that you're going to say you don't like and say, that's just not even in my playbook that I plan on doing or am interested in doing. So do you have interests or ideas that you might want to experience in high school? You're getting there pretty soon.
I don't know. If we look here, I can say I probably won't see myself in colorful feet.
You don't see yourself in color. You aren't going to walk on the beach?
I'll use these, but not
Okay.
these.
Okay.
I mean, I guess we could put these in the beginning.
Yeah, you could as younger, yes. You would probably have liked colorful feet more than more than boots and shoes and stuff. But the whole idea is that there isn't anybody's shoes that you can step into. You can have experiences like who was that you told me that you did on the bomber? You flew in that?
Yeah,
Who
I
did
flew
it
in it
belong
with
to?
I don't know. It belonged because it unfortunately crashed.
Yeah.
It belonged to a foundation which brings those. They have a few. They have the B-17, which I flew in, the B-24 Liberator, which I've been in, but I didn't fly in it. The B-25. You can go in all these planes except, so you can go in those two planes always when they tour around. And you can just walk in them and take pictures, but they don't fly anywhere.
Yeah.
And then you have to buy a tour to actually fly in it, and it costs a lot more than the ticket just to walk around in them.
I'll bet.
And then there's the B-25, which you can fly in, but you can't get in because it's a very small, cramped airplane.
Right.
So it's hard to actually walk around in
Yeah,
there.
because wasn't that just like a two?
No, the
plane or
B-25 had a large crew, but for walking around, they don't open
There's
it
no
because there's no space for a lot of people. It's not like easy for people to get around. So I don't know if you can. I'm pretty sure you can fly in it. It has a crew, but I don't think you can just. I don't even know if you can. But then they have, after the 3 bombers, they have a P-51 Mustang, which is a fighter plane, and they have trainers, so 2 people can fit in them, so you can pay for a ride in the fighter plane. And then they have a P-40 Warhawk, which is also a fighter plane, which is also a bigger cockpit trainer, so you can fly in that one. And of course, you can't get in those because there's like literally nothing to do.
Space,
there's you can. What you see from the outside is basically what you see from the inside.
That's it.
Yeah.
You sit and
There's
fly.
no
That's
place
it.
to walk around.
It's not one of those airplanes, right? You
No.
can't-
So
you
they
can't have somebody coming
they
bring you a
have
snack.
they have those, and then my grandpa took me on the B-17.
Okay. All right.
So
you've had the only thing I know about the military planes and things, stuff that my dad told me, and then my grandfather, who was in World War I. And so I only know about that kind of stuff in pictures that I have seen.
didn't he fly in a B-24?
Yes, he did. He did. And actually, my mom is looking for those pictures so that I can, and she'd be happy for you to have them if you wanted them.
Mm-hmm.
So, because of your interest and how that is important to you. So, when we go through experiences, as you've gotten, and you've met a lot of people that kind of have guided you further along that path, right? Yeah. So as you continue to go along that path, there's lots of different experiences that you have. So if we have to acquaint that with shoes, we would acquaint it to the idea that you may meet somebody that wears a specific type of shoe for their career or what it is they're doing. Like, you might be really into baseball. My son-in-law is a sports writer, and he likes baseball as his favorite sport to follow. But he follows lots of different sports. And so he's interested in playing baseball. He played for a little while, but he was hurt, so he wasn't able to play anymore. But he loves the sport. And you may find that you like baseball or football or any of those sports. You might like swimming, and you might like gymnastics and all those other kinds of things. There's another sport that doesn't wear shoes. Gymnastics.
They don't? I think they sometimes do.
Yeah, they may, those soft slipper things. So
No clue.
anyway, the whole idea about the shoes is you really aren't going to know the shoes that you're going to walk in until you experience or someone shows you something that you're really interested in seeing and doing. And the trying out different things is really important. So you may wear all kinds of different kinds of shoes.
I also like reenactment. I see myself doing that.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is just like historical, like stuff, basically, like
thing.
reenacting historical things. I went to a Revolutionary War reenactment with my friends Tora, Arik, and Bjorn a while ago. We went there before COVID, of course, a while ago, and we got a hotel room there, and then we went there for 2 days.
And you
to
got
the
to
reenactment.
participate in the reenactment?
Yeah, we watched
it?
it, and then there were some parts where you could participate. We didn't participate in it because, of course, you need to be part of
A group kind of thing.
a kind of a group, and
Right.
then you have to have the historically accurate
Costumes and stuff.
costumes that
Yeah.
have to be approved by that group.
Right.
So
There's
you
a lot
can't.
to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to
So,
it.
but it's very interesting.
Yeah.
We know a couple people who actually do it.
All right. So that's maybe something you're interested in long down the line.
Yeah,
You
we
may-
have
you
a
may wanna
friend
do
who
something
does
like that.
Civil War, and he rode his horse for his Civil War reenactment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Maverick has his whole path ahead of him, and where he knows where he is now.
I see these ones duplicating over here.
You've seen those being duplicated down there. Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But you have
These
so
I can see
many.
these continuing on.
Yeah. But you have so many varieties and choices, which is the cool thing about what we get to do and how many things we get to try. And again, every year your shoe size changes and it continues to change. So it would go with the idea that you may continue to change and change all kinds of different things as you continue to grow up. So from our story that we read today, it leads us down a path that we get to create. Your folks may help you and guide you through that path. You may meet someone that's going to be your mentor. That's a person that helps you along a path. A good way to describe that is if you enjoy cooking. You may meet a person or someone that's really good at something, and you really want to do that. And so you learn from them, and they mentor you in teaching you how to do it. And you're going to discover all kinds of things you may be interested in doing that before you actually land in the kind of shoes you're actually going to wear when you get older. But that's the whole fun of it. That's the whole fun of
Infinite loop.
Yeah, an infinite loop. Yeah, you're infinitely going to be changing constantly.
If you go this way, then you'll go around and inside,
And then
come back out and
Yeah.
keep doing that forever.
And that's really cool. I like that. So
It's
there,
kinda
Maverick's-
weird because
Maverick's
it's
got it
taped
explained
together.
for you right there. You're going to start, you're going to go, you may change different paths, and you may come back to where you originally started and find that that's your niche. That's where you want to be and what shoes you really want to wear. But we know that the only shoes you can wear are the shoes that fit your feet. And as you grow, that changes. So we never want to say we're only ever going to do this.
They're too small, they hurt, and if they're too big, they give you blisters.
Yeah,
and it's not very practical if your shoes are super big.
And that's a good point. That's a good point and picture to point out. Don't ever get stuck in something that you are good at, but now it cramps your feet, or it cramps your style, or it cramps where your imagination wants to take you.
Or somebody may want you to do something.
Right, or somebody may want you to be a certain way, and that isn't who you are. So that's the cool part about wearing your own shoes. You can try lots of kinds on, but once you find that place, that's perfect for you. And you're the only one that's going to know that. So take the story of Alexandria and try on lots of different sizes, different shoes, but always be sure you try them on when they fit. And when they fit, you're really going to be able to experience who you are and where you're going to go next. So thank you very much for joining us this morning, and thank you, Maverick, for sharing your stories with us.
Thank you.
And his shoes. And I like your infinity sign you made out of that. That's really cool. Do it one more time.
It was kind of hard with the bends, but it's just, no, I messed up.
You twisted it?
I have to twist it. No. I know how to do it.
There you go.
Yeah, like there.
Yeah.
And then it will go.
And just think, you get all of that time and opportunity to go there, and you can still go back to where you started with something that makes you happy and makes you feel fulfilled. And you never know the type of thing you do and how many lives you're going to change besides your own. So you guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see Maverick again another time. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your day. Bye.
Bye.